At the Rad Dad National, three-time champion Russell Bobbitt steals the win away from FMF KTM teammate Caleb Russell in the final test. Russell finishes second and maintains the points lead, with Stu Baylor rounding out the podium. We head into Missouri. 3 races, 3 winners. Will we see a repeat winner today, or will a fourth rider step up and take his first win of the year? Find out next at the Moose Racing Leadbelt National. Hello everyone and welcome to round number 5 of the 2015 Kenda AMA National Enduro Championship Series. We're here in Park Hills, Missouri, just outside of St. Louis, about an hour. This is the Moose Racing Leadbelt National. We got some big storylines to follow. First things first, if you can't tell behind me, it is raining. It's starting to come down heavier as I talk. We had a big downpour this morning. The soil down here is rocky, sandy. Up higher in the elevation, there's a little bit of clay. So it's going to be challenging for these riders all day long. It's going to be raining off and on today as the forecast is predicting. So that could play into the hands, or it could hurt some of the riders later on today. Big storylines from the previous round at Rad Dad in West Point, Tennessee. 3-time national champion Russell Bobbitt in the final test came from 45 seconds behind to steal the win away from FMF KTM teammate Caleb Russell. Caleb Russell finished second. He maintains the points lead. He's sitting on 3 straight second place finishes with the points lead over Russell Bobbitt and your third place finisher at Rad Dad, Stu Baylor. Take a look at the points heading into today's racing. Caleb Russell is on top of the point standings with those 3 consistent second place finishes. Behind him, last round's winner, Russell Bobbitt, and then your first round winner, 2011 champion Stu Baylor. Those 3 are pretty far out in the points right now compared to the rest of the field. Everyone else is having inconsistent finishes. We've established our key players. We've looked at the point standings. The riders are out right now. Let's pick them up in test number 1.
Introducing the newest member of the Yamaha off-road family. It thrives in the most remote, rugged terrain. It never steps down from a challenge and travels long distances in search of adventure. The all-new Yamaha Wolverine. It's a whole new animal.
This is it. This is the one.
You know the deal.
Always the order in which the riders come through reflects the order in which they finish at the previous round. So up first we're going to see Russell Bobbitt, and we're right near a road to the ranger station here at the St. John State Park. And Russell makes his way through first, across the road, through the little bit of a water area at the end of the section here. Was that? I think it was. Yeah, it was. It was Caleb Russell actually blowing the corner, so he lost probably 3 to 5 seconds there, crossing the road. Up next is Mototech KTM Stu Baylor. Baylor looking for another win. Baylor is always hard on the gas, wheeling across the water. Up next, little brother Grant Baylor aboard the AM Pro FMF Yamaha. Baylor loft in the wheel, but he was actually able to put that section together pretty well. Up next, the factory beta Corey Buttrick. Buttrick on the 4-stroke this week, the factory 430 beta. Right behind him, his teammate New Jersey's Jesse Grom. Grom looked really quick through there. Mototech teammate to Stu Baylor, Trevor Bollinger up next. Looks like as the riders keep getting farther and farther into this, as we get farther in the order actually, the riders are starting to find a better line across that water at the end. I believe that was Ryder Lafferty. Actually, that was Craig DeLong. This is Ryder Lafferty aboard the Air Radiant Racing Husqvarna. The motocross, supercross phenom Ryan Sipes aboard the Air Radiant Husqvarna in his second National Enduro attempt. As we close out test number 1, it's Caleb Russell with the win over Grant Baylor and Andrew DeLong, who we didn't see in the first test, but DeLong took a 3rd place at the end of test number 1. As we move on to test number 2, once again, Russell Bobbitt is going to be the first rider in. We talked to him briefly before the race started about his win at Rad Day.
Pretty much just going to try and ride consistently fast and, not make mistakes. I think it'll be a little bit easy to blow some corners or, make little mistakes with it being kind of slick and like this, but I think key will also be to, kind of keep charging and just find that traction.
So Bobbitt definitely has the game plan with the rain that we received overnight and this morning here at Leadbelt, as Russell has already gone through. Up next, right now actually, as we're looking at it, Stu Baylor aboard the Mototech KTM with a nice splash through the water. Nice overhead shot of that water hole being splashed out. As we move now to the 4th rider, once again, Grant Baylor, the little brother. Baylor looks like he could, a lot of people are picking Baylor to be the next winner on the tour, along with Caleb Russell. Like we've said before, 3 winners in 3 rounds. Caleb Russell or Grant Baylor are looking for their first wins of the year. So we move to Corey Buttrick now. Maybe it was just me. I don't know if you guys heard this. Looked like Buttrick's bike might have been popping just a little bit. Maybe that was just me, though. So we move to Grom. Grom with a nice splash through the water. He had to pull a couple rolls on the roll-off with the goggles. As Bollinger makes his way through. Bollinger likes riding the 350. He runs the 250 in the Grand National Cross Country Series. He likes the 350 even though the National Enduros are a little bit more technical and tighter. Bollinger likes having that extra power. Lafferty once again on that Husqvarna ripping through the water and through the end of this section. Here we get our first look at our defending national champion DeLong on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. He looked pretty good through that test. So we move now to Motorsport Yamaha rider Brad Bakken. Bakken, like we've said so many times before, Bakken likes riding the taller gear. He's able to keep the traction going in the rear wheel. As that closes out test number 2, Caleb Russell, Grant Baylor, and DeLong still your order. Moving on to test number 3 now. Now we're pretty much riding right into the heart of the St. Joe State Park. As Bobbitt works his way through the mud hole and back into the woods. Russell up next. Russell aboard the new factory 250 KTM that'll be in production next year for 2016. Russell made his debut on that bike at the Kenda Full Gas Enduro a couple of weeks ago. Bringing it out here for the National Enduro here at the Leadbelt. As Baylor continues to rip on the 2-stroke. Here comes Grant Baylor. Grant really winding out that 450. He looks really good in this test. Through the mud hole he goes. I don't know if Grant, made a wrong move in that test. That was really good for the Yamaha rider. Here we go back to the Beta 430 of Buttrick. Buttrick looked like went around the mud hole. Didn't even lose any time, it looked like. Jesse Grom on the 2-stroke. Whoa! Grom tagging the tree. About another 3 to 4 inches farther back, and that could have ended bad for Jesse Grom. Bollinger once again on that 350 Mototech KTM. Loses a little bit of time right there. He decided to go straight through the mud hole. But it looks like the traction is really starting to pick up out here deeper into this state park out here in Missouri. DeLong You hear him hollering for the rider in front of him. There are amateurs out here that can affect the pro riders once they come through with their overall times. As we reach the halfway point, Caleb Russell, Grant Baylor, and Andrew DeLong the top 3, with Ryan Sipes and Corey Buttrick rounding out your top 5. Now we'll take a short break from the action for the NEPG Tech Tip, brought to you by Unibiker Dirt Armor. With the toughest skid plates and radiator shrouds around, go to unibiker.com. Unibiker, get it before you need it.
Hey, how you doing? This is Rich Lafferty with Air Group Husky, and we're doing a tech tip today for brake snakes for the National Enduro Series. A good idea when you're racing off-road is to mount up a brake snake just to keep debris out from the brake pedal so you don't bend your brake pedal or break it off. Get a regular brake snake from either, Moose Off-Road supplies them, Parts Unlimited, same deal, or Motorcycle Superstore, anybody like that. Or if you're cheap like me, you can go to the standard Lowe's and buy some cable, a stop, and the little crimp end to make your own brake snake. Before you crimp the one end, you want to make sure you got plenty of slack in the cable. You want it to do its job to keep debris from behind the brake pedal, but you don't want it too tight so it doesn't allow you to use the brakes properly.
As we move on to test number 4 now, the riders get thrown a little bit of an interesting obstacle here. They go through a tunnel that is encased in a bridge, but the road goes over, so something a little bit different. As you see, Russell, he's the first one that we're going to get to see go through the tunnel. Something a little bit different, and makes it unique here at the Leadbelt. That's only part of the attraction that brings these riders here, and we'll see the other part of that attraction once we move later into the afternoon. As Baylor makes his way through a really tough creek section. Grant Baylor, he negotiated it pretty well, and they keep dragging the water out of the exit of the tunnel, so that's going to make it even more tricky for the riders that are coming up behind these front 4 or 5 riders. Buttrick still charging on that 430. Really winding it out. It's interesting that Buttrick made the switch to the 4-stroke for this race. We're going to take a look at Trevor Bollinger now. A little tricky, a little tough for him getting through the creek with the rocks and everything. Through the tunnel, he's looking all right. Up the chute here, looks like he's starting to pick it back up. As we move now back to Craig DeLong, the younger brother of defending champion Andrew DeLong. And he looked like he got through the creek, through the early part of that creek and the rocks pretty well. Carrying good momentum, not real high in the RPMs, getting the power down to the rear wheel. Craig looked good right there. A little low in the RPM for Andrew DeLong as we see him come through. Now he's getting back on it. Looks like he's starting to pick it back up. He's in contention for the podium right now, and he wants to make sure he can stay there. Ryder Lafferty looked pretty good through the entire section. Man, Brad Bakken just struggling through the first part of that creek. Gets through the tunnel. He's actually pretty high up in the RPM right there. That's probably the highest I've ever heard him run that YZF 250. As we close out test number 4, it's still Russell over Baylor, DeLong, Stu Baylor, and Corey Buttrick, your top 5. Test number 5 wasn't really much of a test, but we'll show some highlights from that test. Some of the riders taking off. There's Trevor Bollinger taking off. Like I said, it wasn't really much of a test. And while these riders are taking off to start test number 5, we're going to make our way over to test number 6 and the most infamous obstacle in all of National Enduro racing, the Leadbelt Waterfall. here in Park Hills, Missouri. Once these riders take off, they're going to complete test number 5. We're going to make our way to test number 6, the final test of the afternoon, the final chance for these riders to make up some ground. While we're heading to test number 6, the N-Pro Yamaha boys decided to stop by Furman University to do a little research to help them get that extra edge out on the racetrack. We're going to check in with them right now.
We're trying to help identify what aspect of their training might have room for improvement so that we can take their fitness to the next level, and so that their fitness doesn't, and fatigue isn't a factor in these 40-minute races to 3-hour races. Ultimately, if these guys are going hard, again, it's 40 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, we don't want their fitness to detract from their performance. We want to see them have maximal performance, and so we're doing. All right, nice job.
My legs feel that.
You know, that's your best test you've done. Wow.
We're also doing a Wingate test to look at power. Maximal power, mean power, and how power drops off. These guys are riding on 250-pound motorcycles, and that takes a lot of work.
Get those RPMs up, Daniel. Don't let it beat you. Don't let it beat you. Get them up, get them up, get them up. Come on, Daniel, move. Get those RPMs up.
But if we can make them fitter and stronger, they'll be able to control their motorcycle much better. I hope that's the right term, motorcycle.
What the guys were saying, we've improved, which is a bonus. And if we just keep working on this through the year, you know, we're going to get better and better.
I guess our goal, we should be at that fitness level at the start of the year.
Well, that would be nice, yeah.
The YZ250F and YZ450F. Are you ready to turn the corner?
As the riders close out test number 5, Caleb Russell still leads with Grant Baylor and Andrew DeLong in 2nd and 3rd. Buttrick and Stu Baylor rounding out the top 5. A lot of switching going on in the top 5. So we move to test number 6, the most infamous spot in all of National Enduro Racing, the Leadbelt Waterfall. A multi-tiered system, very slippery rocks underneath. We're going to check in with Russ Bobbitt first, splashing through the middle part of this waterfall. Ooh, a little slide. Oh! He slid a little bit on the top part of the bottom third of this waterfall, and he wasn't able to keep it together, so Bobbitt's going to lose time there. Caleb Russell now. Russell, since this is his first time chasing the National Enduro Series, this is his first time meeting the Leadbelt Waterfall. Let's see if he makes it clean. And he does. Pretty good line for Russell. Not a whole lot of splash through there. We check in now with Stu Baylor. Baylor's on the 2-stroke, so he might have a little bit harder time keeping the traction. What little traction there is anyway. Yeah, you could tell right there when he dropped the front end he was sliding. Checking with Grant Baylor now on the 450 Yamaha. He's looking pretty good through this first section as he heads into the bottom part of the waterfall. Oh, we're back with Stu. Stu killed the engine and crashed. I thought we were staying with Grant on that one. Turns out we're, Grant's right there. Even before Stu crashed, Grant was right on the back end of Big Brother. So that's going to make it interesting, as Grant's in contention for a win. Moving now to Factory FMF Beta Stillwater Performance. Jesse Grom! Jesse loses the front end and down. Trevor Bollinger now on the Mototech KTM. Wait, is that... Grom still hasn't gotten going. The goggles are off. That's part of Team Beta, the mechanic and Beta mechanic and team manager there. As we move back to Bollinger, it looks like Grom still hasn't gotten the bike started. He might have drowned out when he crashed. I'll bet that's exactly what happened. As we move now to Andrew DeLong and the Rockstar Husqvarna. Oh, a huge splash. It looked like he might have hit something. He came up on the bars there. Ooh. Wow. I think that scared him just a little bit. That was a little sketchy for DeLong, but that was pretty quick nonetheless. Brad Bakken, he's got the tall gear going, just like always. He's looking really good through here. Nice! I think Bakken looked the best through that middle section of the waterfall. Ryder Lafferty on the Air Radiant Husqvarna. He's looking good, not a whole lot of splash. Ooh. He got a little sideways coming down towards the bottom, but he was able to keep it in check. Let's see how a motocross rider handles the water-covered rocks. He's looking pretty good, Sipes is. Let's see how he does the bottom part. A little wheel spin drop on the front end there, but Sipes handled it pretty well. And look at that. Russell takes his first win in the National Enduro Series. Grant Baylor on the podium. Andrew DeLong back on the podium in third with Stu Baylor and Russell Bobbitt rounding out the top 5. Well, we got our 4th winner in 4 rounds. Let's check in with our winner, Caleb Russell, along with our 2nd place finisher, Grant Baylor, and 3rd place finisher, Andrew DeLong.
Finally got that first win today in Enduros, and it feels good. It's it's been a long time coming this year. I've been close, and feel like there's a few more that I could have won this year, and a couple or 1 or 2 that I was kind of borderline of getting on the podium.
Ended up winning the last test by a few seconds over Caleb, and came out with 2nd overall. Didn't make too many mistakes throughout the day. I mean, I was a pretty solid day. Hit the ground twice, and other than that, it was a solid day.
It was pretty solid. I mean, I rode my heart out. I really did, and just came up short today, and just had a little bit off day. Like my corners weren't really flowing as well as what they should have been. It feels good to get back on the podium, and yeah, and hopefully we can improve from here.